If you have ever wanted to connect Telegram to your own automation tool, not Zapier, not Make, something you actually own and control yourself, then this video is for you. I'm running n8n on my own AWS infrastructure, no subscription, no vendor lock-in, and it cost me about $80 a month, and I own every single piece of it. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to send yourself a Telegram message from inside a private AWS network. 5 minutes, one workflow, proof that the whole thing works. Let's do it. So this is the n8n dashboard. We're going to create a new workflow by clicking here. And every workflow would always need a way to know that it needs to be triggered, right? So you can either trigger it on a schedule or you can trigger it manually. Most times people usually go manually, so I'll select manual. So every time somebody clicks on this execute, this entire workflow will be triggered. And all we're trying to do in ours is that when we click on the workflow to trigger it, the message should be sent to Telegram, which is now the next step of the process. Now, all you need is an action. And in this case, we want that when our flow is executed, Telegram message is sent. So when we click on this, we can now look for Telegram, for example. And when you find Telegram, you want to select on send a message. The main two things you would actually require are your Telegram credentials, a token, which you're going to first of all have to add here. Think of it as a way of authenticating to Telegram, and you're going to get that token from bot father. I'll show you an example here of how I got mine. On Telegram, search for bot father. The next thing you want to put is /new bots, and then when you put the /new bots, follow all the instructions. I can obviously not show you mine, but at the end of that instruction, you're going to get a token. That's how you're going to have the information to fill into this create a new credential place where you put in the access token, and as you can see, the Telegram API is already pre-filled for you. Next thing you'd want, like I said, is going to be chat ID. And the chat ID is essentially telling Telegram that authenticate as me. So you need to provide your chat ID. And that chat ID for me is going to be a short series of numbers that I was able to get from something called Get ID. So obviously I wouldn't want to show you all the details, but it is actually called ID bot. And then you'd put a /get ID, and then you'd get your ID. It's a 9-digit number where you could just copy and then take over there. And so as you can see, I have now put in my chat ID. And the text I want to send is just, this is from inside an AWS VPC. We can go ahead and close this. Let's go ahead and test this. Wonderful. So this is how n8n looks generally. For you to be able to see the workflow now, you could first of all go to executions. In the execution, you can double click on it and open it to see. Sorry, you double click over here when it opens up, right? So you can see the message was sent over here. And then if I also check my Telegram, I can see that the message has just been sent right now. The message has delivered. That just traveled from an n8n container sitting in a private AWS subnet through a Cloudflare Tunnel out to Telegram API and then landed on my phone. There was no public IP on the container, no load balancer, nothing exposed. If you're building your own automation stack and you want to connect it to Telegram, this is exactly how you do it. And here you have what is now happening behind the scenes, where to be able to reach the n8n from the internet, you would have to go through Cloudflare, specifically making use of Cloudflare over here. So that handles both the DNS and then the tunnel. I also use Traefik for internal routing to be able to know which particular container a request is going to. For the domains, obviously, to make it a bit easier to also route all the domains, right? So I have like a wildcard domain, nameless company.cc, right? And then all of this sits in a private subnet. In the next video, I'm going to be breaking down the full AWS architecture, the networking decisions, the cost breakdown, why I choose each piece. After that, real DevOps workflows, ECS, health checks, automated deployment, cost monitoring. Subscribe if you want to follow along. I'll see you in the next one.